Building a permanent foothold in dense jungle requires more than just raw effort. It demands a deep understanding of the materials at hand. Today, one builder begins establishing a perimeter, relying solely on hand tools and ambient resources. The first step in any structural foundation is isolation from the wet forest floor. Using a carbon steel machete, he creates a tapered point on each wooden pole. A clean, angled cut severs the wood fibers without crushing them, ensuring the stake drives straight into the root-dense soil. This sharp profile minimizes the surface area, interacting with ground moisture, significantly reducing the rate of fungal decay. Driving these stakes vertically establishes a load-bearing perimeter. Each upright support will soon distribute the weight of the roof and walls down into the earth. Precision in this early layout dictates the stability of the entire cabin. Even a slight deviation from plumb can amplify structural stress once the heavy bamboo framework is added. The surrounding terrain offers everything required for a sturdy shelter. It just has to be engineered properly.
Hai teman-teman, berjumpa lagi di channel Jejak Anak Camping. Terima kasih banyak untuk kalian semua yang telah bergabung di channel ini, dan buat kalian yang belum bergabung.
Before a foundation can spread, the surrounding understory must be cleared. Thick vegetation not only restricts movement, but also harbors constant threats like the local leech population seeking heat and movement. Clearing the immediate brush increases airflow around the future structure. This passive ventilation is essential for preventing rot in untreated timber. Every swing of the blade serves a dual purpose, expanding the workspace and gathering secondary building materials. These thinner, flexible poles will eventually be processed for lashing or secondary framing. Nothing in the jungle is wasted. Cross-cutting green wood with a handsaw requires maintaining a steady rhythm to keep the blade from binding. Fresh timber holds a high moisture content, which grips the steel teeth. Once sectioned, the pieces are shaped into secondary foundation anchors. Shaving away the outer bark removes the wood's primary protective layer, exposing the dense heartwood beneath. This dense core offers superior compressive strength. The stakes are primed for the soil. Establishing a perfectly level perimeter without surveying equipment relies heavily on tactile feedback and visual alignment. As each stake is driven into the earth, the builder must read the soil's resistance. Soft pockets require deeper insertion, while root strikes demand slight adjustments to the anchor line. The structural integrity of a raised floor depends entirely on these vertical columns sharing the load equally. If one post settles lower than the rest, it creates a weak point that will warp the flooring above. By continuously preparing and planting these anchors in tight succession, he ensures a rigid boundary. The sheer volume of stakes transforms a simple outline into a formidable retaining wall. This density blocks encroaching mud during heavy downpours. The footprint is now locked in place. With the foundation outline complete, the structural framing requires a material with immense tensile strength. Green bamboo is one of the most efficient natural building materials on the planet. Its hollow, compartmentalized structure gives it a high strength-to-weight ratio, rivaling mild steel in tensile applications. Harvesting mature stalks requires striking at an angle just above the node, where the fibers are thickest. Carrying these dense, water-heavy poles across uneven terrain is a grueling test of endurance. Back at the site, the bamboo is laid horizontally across the vertical stakes. This creates the primary sill plate for the walls. The sheer weight of the green bamboo helps lock the underlying stakes into their final positions. Gravity does the initial joining. As the walls rise, the lower foundation requires active reinforcement. Driving thick, primary stakes deep into the compacted dirt anchors the entire assembly against lateral wind loads. Using a mallet delivers blunt, dispersed force, preventing the top of the wooden stakes from splintering under impact. A shattered stake head allows water to pool in the frayed fibers, accelerating rot. Sinking these anchors until the resistance becomes absolute ensures they have bypassed the loose topsoil. They are now biting into the dense subsoil. This deep anchoring transforms the individual bamboo layers into a unified, immovable block. A horizontal tie beam is hammered securely into the foundation array. This locks the vertical elements together, preventing them from shifting outward under the immense weight of the upcoming roof. With the base locked, the primary roof support column is raised. This thick vertical mast will carry the apex load of the structure. Finding dead center is critical for transferring the roof's downward force evenly across the footprint. With the primary framing enveloped in protective plastic, attention shifts to interior airflow. Splitting bamboo lengthwise compromises its structural tube, but creates flat, flexible slats ideal for paneling. The inner pith is removed, leaving only the hard, weather-resistant outer skin. Lashing these slats together forms a lightweight, breathable window shutter. In a tropical climate, sealing a shelter completely is a dangerous mistake. Without adequate cross-ventilation, trapped moisture from breath and cooking will condense on the interior walls. This rapid condensation breeds mold and soaks the sleeping area. By installing a hinged, adjustable panel, the builder gains control over the internal microclimate. The shutter can deflect driving rain, while still allowing a steady breeze to pull damp air out of the cabin. Securing it with flexible bindings allows the hinge to withstand repeated use without snapping. The shelter can now breathe. The final interior task is elevating the living space away from the damp earth. A raised floor drastically reduces heat loss through conduction and acts as a barrier against ground-dwelling insects. Driving steel nails through the curved bamboo slats prevents them from twisting as they dry and shrink over time. The rigid floor frame is then topped with a pre-woven bamboo mat. This matting distributes body weight across multiple slats, eliminating uncomfortable pressure points. Just as the interior is finalized, the canopy opens up. The sharp drumming of heavy rain against the polyethylene tarp proves the immediate value of the roof pitch. A steep angle is vital for shedding water quickly. Any slack in the plastic would create heavy pooling that could collapse the rafters. Inside, the space remains bone dry. Wiping down the fresh bamboo removes the sharp silica dust generated during the cutting phase. The cabin is sealed, elevated, and secured. The sudden shift from exhausting physical labor to quiet rest brings a necessary drop in core temperature. Hydration is critical after hours of sweating in high humidity. The enclosed bamboo walls successfully block the wind chill, trapping the ambient warmth of the body inside. Lacing up heavy boots is a constant ritual here. The forest floor is unforgiving to exposed feet. With the structure sound, the focus shifts from survival construction to sustainable habitation. As daylight fades, the temperature in the jungle drops rapidly, pulling cold dampness into everything. A compact butane stove provides immediate, controlled heat without the smoke that a wood fire would trap inside the small cabin. Boiling water is the non-negotiable rule of backcountry survival, neutralizing waterborne pathogens gathered from local streams. Mixing a hot drink elevates core body heat from the inside out. Complex carbohydrates, like those in the boiled sweet potatoes, offer a slow, sustained energy release. This steady caloric burn will keep the body warm throughout the long night ahead. Peeling the dense root vegetable reveals flesh that has been steamed perfectly within its own skin. Overhead, small LED bulbs powered by battery banks push back the heavy darkness. The light reflects warmly off the fresh green bamboo walls, transforming a crude shelter into a secure psychological haven. Caloric deficit and physical exhaustion are temporarily held at bay. The body finally has the resources it needs to begin repairing muscle tissue. Beyond the thin bamboo walls, the jungle reclaims the night. The physical barrier is thin, but it is enough to separate the builder from the crawling, nocturnal ecosystem outside. Securing the perimeter means closing the final gaps in the defense. Pulling the woven bamboo screen across the entryway blocks the wind and deters opportunistic scavengers drawn by the scent of food. Pre-packing gear in the dim light is a disciplined habit. In an emergency, fumbling for equipment in the dark wastes critical seconds. Everything is stowed, organized, and ready for immediate deployment. The environment is entirely managed. A synthetic sleeping bag traps a layer of dead air against the skin, serving as the final barrier against the damp chill. Outside, the rain continues to test the structural integrity of the lashed frame. The shelter holds steady, deflecting the elements into the dark soil below. By morning, the physical toll of the previous day's labor settles deeply into the joints. Waking up in a dry environment prevents the rapid heat loss that makes jungle mornings so debilitating. Adjusting the corrugated roofing ensures the overnight wind hasn't compromised the runoff channels. Igniting the stove for a second time restarts the internal furnace. A hot morning infusion of tea stimulates blood flow, flushing lactic acid from stiff muscles. The morning routine is deliberately slow, allowing the body to transition from rest to exertion. Every calorie consumed now is fuel for the long trek back to civilization. The bamboo platform has performed flawlessly, providing a flat, rigid surface that kept the sleeping bag entirely off the wet ground. The shelters served its primary purpose.
Hai teman-teman, petualangan kali ini cukup sampai di sini saja. Buat kalian yang suka dengan video ini, jangan lupa like, comment, share, dan subscribe. Dan jangan lupa.
In the end, survival architecture is deeply temporary. The structure remains behind, a quiet testament to applied geometry and human endurance. It will stand until the jungle inevitably reclaims the bamboo, dissolving it back into the damp earth.